Hi and welcome to another quarterfinal episode of the Great Debaters Contest. I'm your host, George Kariuki. Thank you for joining us. The number of Kenyan Form 4 leavers is increasing each year with the high demand and enrollment in tertiary institutions. Unfortunately, not all students who enroll in these institutions progress as anticipated. Should the National Youth Service then be reintroduced to assist them with some skills that they can use to sustain themselves? Should it be made compulsory, or is it a waste of time? This is our subject today. The motion today: the National Youth Service should be made compulsory for all Kenyan students. Let's hear what the students have to say.
The motion this week is: National Youth Service should be compulsory for all Kenyan students. Proposing the motion, Our Lady of Mercy. Opposing the motion, AgaKhan Academy. Each contestant has 3 minutes to make their submissions. The audience also gets a chance to put their questions to each team. Each side will have an additional 1 minute to make a final statement. The judge's decision is final. But in a twist, the audience also gets to have their say through the popular vote. This will see an extra 5% added to the school that wins this vote. The winning school will get an ICT chill-out zone with a widescreen TV, computers, webcam, and internet connection. The teacher from the winning school gets 100,000 shillings courtesy of Chase Bank. The winning students each get a laptop and modem courtesy of Safaricom, a gift hamper from Hako, and a gift hamper from mimi.co.ke. And together they all win the title, The Great Debaters. May the best school win!
Proposal number 1, you have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Shariz Miroyo from Our Lady of Mercy, here to propose the motion: National Youth Service should be made compulsory for all Kenyan schools. The National Youth Service is a national project that is aimed in engaging the young people of a nation in a disciplined process to help them serve the nation in the future, and to also acquire skills and further their education to help them acquire a better opportunity to get income, to support their nation, their families, and enhance the development of their countries. Why should the Kenyan government make the National Youth Service program compulsory in Kenya? Among the youth, we know that very few young people have a reasonable sense of responsibility. How many times have we had our own parents tell us, "You are not responsible"? And as we all know, most Kenyans live under the notion of "you only live once," popularly known as YOLO among the young people. And we see that if the government made this program compulsory, these young people would use this opportunity to acquire skills that would make them more responsible. For example, the National Youth Service of South Africa. We see that the members of the National Youth of South Africa have been involved a lot in the the notion which is the climatic change in the world. We see that people as young as 17 years old of age are in the South African theme known as South Africa Act Now, which is a program which helps them communicate on climatical change, such as the global warming. Also, we see that not only will the National Youth Service be beneficial to the youth, but also it will be beneficial to the government. Why is this? It will enhance the development of a country. How, you may ask? Well, we all know most youth are quite lazy. You'd rather spend your time at home watching TV other than doing something productive. We also see that, why should the government make it compulsory? I, for once, know that if my mom came and told me that you are joining the National Youth Service today voluntarily, I will definitely say no. But if it's in the government, if it's a requirement by me that when I finish my high school education, I'm supposed to join the National Youth Service so that I can acquire skills that will help me and will help my nation, I will definitely join. So how will this help the nation? Well, we see that many university graduates are at home with no jobs because of less job opportunities, or the population in Kenya is very high and the job opportunities are very low. But we see that if you have that extra skill, for example, you acquire carpentry and you not get a job in the white-collar department, you can easily start your own business, which will help the country in a matter that instead of the government supporting people without jobs, we see that the government will instead acquire a larger manpower, which will lead to more taxes, which will help in the development of the country. Thank you.
First opposer, you have 3 minutes.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dhruven Doshi, representing the AgaKhan Academy, and we are opposing the motion that National Youth Service should be made mandatory for all Kenyan students. I will begin by emphasizing how my counterpart seems to be generalizing and making stereotypes about how all young people are irresponsible and that youths are lazy. What evidence does she have to back up her statements? To begin with, I will ask you all a simple question. Does national service help build individual character? The concept of compulsory national service is in itself synonymous to the idea of forceful volunteering. What is forceful volunteering, you all may ask me? This, ladies and gentlemen, is an oxymoron. That can be something. How can something be voluntary if it is forceful? In order for an act to be patriotic, it has to be voluntary. If it is required, then nothing is special. Secondly, the concept of NYS kills individuality. What I'm trying to portray here is that the prospect of talented youths who aspire to be paralegals, lawyers, leaders, and also doctors have to give up this dream in order to go through this program. These young people, men and women, spend several months learning irrelevant skills such as carpentry and knitting, which will have no impact to them in the future. So why do these youths need to go through this? And going to the global perspective, we see an example of mandatory service is in South Korea, where youths between the age of 18 and 25 are forced to go through national service. And this puts limitation to age-sensitive careers. Age-sensitive careers include modeling, athletics, or a career in the arts. Put into context, here in Kenya, we're trying to develop athletic prowess in sports such as football, athletics, and rugby. As you all know, NYS enrollment takes place during our prime, and therefore, instead of training on what you want to become, you're stuck on learning vocational skills while your international counterparts are going through intense training to reach their peak, and therefore we're not able to compete on the same level as them. Thirdly, completing the NYS program doesn't at all guarantee future employment, nor does it guarantee a place in university. I'd like to stress on this again, nor does it guarantee a place in university. As a graduate, you're left with skills that you may not use, leading to a depression and possibly increase in crime. Statistics show that an increased unemployment rate leads to a more than proportionate increase in crime rate. And therefore, youths who have gone through the NYS program are likely to indulge in more violent and aggressive crime, which can be exploited by politicians. Finally, the NYS system is very expensive and, more importantly, inefficient allocation of resources from the government. This system requires millions of shillings to accommodate for the youths in terms of shelter, food, clothing, and equipment, which the government will never be able to cater for with a very tight budget. Thank you.
Second proposer. You have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lujain Abbas from Our Lady of Mercy Secondary School, and I'm here to propose the motion that National Youth Services should be compulsory for all Kenyan students. I would like to oppose what my first opposer said. Yes, it guarantees one a space in university. This is because the National Youth Services have various categories of skills. Not only do you get engineering skills, you can also get carpentry skills, you can also get dressmaking skills. This enables you to start a business just in case you are unable to further your studies because of lack of funds. On to my first point, raising the status quo. The main aim of National Youth Services is to enable both the rich and the poor to obtain standardized skills. This therefore leads to the poor developing economically as they are able to gain new skills to uplift their lives. This, in the long run, makes them start ventures, and in this case, entrepreneurial ventures, that in the long run actually helps the well-off people to utilize the services that are being given by these ventures, and hence uplifting the poor people. Secondly, it leads to the reduction of crime rates. There are a lot of youth, or rather graduates, who come out of school without getting jobs. This is because of the scarcity of jobs in our country. Therefore, this leads to them becoming idle. And I know all of you are familiar with the famous saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. This therefore makes the youth engage in crimes such as robbery, theft, prostitution, and this is where the National Youth Services come in handy. They actually impart skills on the youth that enable them to vie for self-employment. Last but not least, national integration. What is national integration? This is the uniting of communities of Kenya. Therefore, the National Youth Services provide a common ground in which youth of different backgrounds come together to engage in community service that foster and strengthen social cohesion. An example of such a youth service is that of South Africa. The South African government has enabled its youth not only by offering occupational skills, but also civic responsibilities that have been made in a structural manner that made the youth actually contribute to the economy's development. In conclusion, the National Youth Services should actually be made compulsory because it will enable us as the youth to get skills that will help us develop our country, Kenya. Thank you.
Second opposer. You have 3 minutes to argue your motion.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and good morning to you all. I'd like to start my points with first counteracting what my counterparts just said. Although they said everything in good faith, I just want to make slight corrections. First of all, why should the NYS be made compulsory? Why not just expand on our current school curriculum to encompass this? It'll waste less time and money in that way. Secondly, how does the skill as a carpenter affect my admission into medicine school? I'd like you all to think about that. And the term employment was used a lot when referring to the NYS. I'd just like to say employment by definition is the condition of having paid work. Being admitted into the NYS, you are not paid in any way, hence this does not affect the employment rate of the country in any such way. Moving on to my points. The NYS has many numerous economic problems. Let me state a few. A key statistic of our country, Kenya, that should be noticed is that the largest segment of our population and the most economically active is aged 18 to 35. The NYS in itself targets this very age group as enrollees. If implemented, a large deal of our workforce shall be deterred for this program and hence may cause large economic turmoil due to the fact that we have no people to work for us or a significantly reduced amount. To continue on, also the program stalls the development of the country as it teaches labor-intensive and basic tertiary skills. While on the other hand, the country will only develop and become self-sufficient economically if we develop skills in the quaternary and high-tech tertiary service sector, especially if we are to compete in local and ultimately global job markets, making the role of the NYS economically of no importance. To finish up, the NYS is a white elephant to a developing country such as us. In order to make efficient use of resources, we should incorporate key skills and civic education within the school curriculum as it is, such as integrating the ideas of the program into the national system. To put it simply, ladies and gentlemen, the NYS has lost its relevance in modern Kenyan society. Simply put, it is a bad idea whose time has passed. Thank you very much.
Question time. Questions to the proposing side?
My name is Rebecca from Loreto, and I'd like to ask the proposing side how exactly the NYS would help me if, for example, I wanted to become a doctor or a lawyer. How exactly does carpentry and knitting help me?
Second question to the opposing side.
Good morning, my name is Brian Kipchumba. My question is to the proposers. You see, the NYS wastes a lot of time and talent. Like in South Korea, where you have to join the army. There was a talented basketballer who joined the NYS, and due to that, he lost his career as a basketballer in the USA. So, shouldn't you say that the NYS should just be put there, but it should not be compulsory? If you don't have funds to go to advance education, you should just join voluntarily, not compulsory, because that will be wasting time and talent. Like our own Rudisha, if you could be in NYS, will you have won gold this year? Thank you.
Questions to the opposing side.
Greetings to all. I'm Anthony from Jamhuri. Question to the opposing side. Quite frankly, it is clearly evident that majority of the youth who complete high school these days tend to stay idle at home. And not everyone is into this internship job thing. So could you please give us an alternative to this? If this National Youth Service isn't there, what then should be done?
Second question to the opposing side.
Carpentry and knitting are also careers, don't you think? My name is William and I have a question. See, the NYS, the services aren't forever, are they? You can go to university and still do what you want to do, but doesn't NYS provide you with skills to fall back on in case what you want does not work out? Thank you.
Third proposal. You have 3 minutes to answer the questions, then continue with the debate.
Hi everyone, I'm Fadosa Aden from Our Lady of Mercy Secondary School. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to propose the motion that states National Youth Service should be compulsory for all Kenyan students. First of all, I'd like to answer the questions. How does it help? You want to become a doctor, how does it help? In National Youth Service, we have different sectors which teach different skills. For example, life skills, survival skills, ethnic skills, and this can help in the medical sector. The second question, it doesn't waste time. National Youth Service is about 1 to 2 years. And for example,